Well, hello everybody. Let's see. Good. The mic is working, sound is working, everything's great. Hi. Welcome back. Guys, I don't know how many of you are here for it, but today's like the big day. It's the big day because after all the things that we've taken feedback on, I managed to get in things like ultra-wide support, things like Steam release, things like a slider to help you convert your resources. Well, we finally managed to pick up another one, which is going to be the roadmap. We're going to give you a roadmap, let you guys know what you can expect in the near future. So, to do that, it's not enough to just have me do it. I mean, I suppose I could just do it, but where's the fun in that? We got somebody very special to come join us to help go through it. So, I'm not going to play any games for now. We're just going to go right to it because those of you who showed up, you guys just want to hear this stuff. I realize that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say hello to the co-creator and current chief creative officer, Jordan. Hi, Jordan.
Howdy, everybody.
How you doing? Guys, let me know in chat if for some reason you can't hear Jordan well enough. I will boost his volume. So, fancy employee not named Bogsy. Yeah, it's true. That's true. So, Jordan, do us a favor. I told the stream what your title is, but give us an idea, A, of what that means, and B, who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully everyone can hear me. I'll let Bogsy adjust the volume as needed. I'll also try to speak up a little bit. So hi, everyone. I'm Jordan Maynard. I'm co-founder of Manticore Games. Still a little low. I think the gain on this mic is all the way up. So
that's okay. Bogsy, I'm artificially boosting you up a little bit, too.
Okay. So I'm co-founder, chief creative officer here at Manticore Games, basically a creative lead for everything we do, which is Core, which is our UGC platform, and of course, Out of Time, which you are all playing. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. So some folks here might actually not know what Core is. So just because I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little bit, would you do us a favor and just kind of give them an idea of what Core is and how it relates to Out of Time?
Yeah, absolutely. So Core is Manticore's first product that we made, and it is a UGC platform where you can make your own games on top of Unreal Engine, right? And then we took that and we built Out of Time on top of that. So the same tools that we used making Out of Time are actually available for free to download on coregames.com, and you can make your own games using that tech. So anyways, that's what Core is, and we built Out of Time on top of it, as you know, really the what we think is the first roguelite in an MMO context, if you will.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if a person were to want to sort of explain it to somebody else, they would say Out of Time was built on the Core engine.
That is correct, which in turn is built on UE5. Correct, yes.
Great. And if you would, please, give us an idea of how long you've been with Manticore and if you've been with Out of Time the entire time.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I'll even go further back. I'll give you my whole background. Why not?
Please do.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see behind me, obviously, I'm a gamer, grew up gaming, but I really grew up gaming. When I was 8 years old, my father was employee number 10 at a little company called Electronic Arts.
Oh!
They were at that time, they were a little company. They were a startup, right? And he's here in the middle. And I was 8 years old, and your dad makes video games, and you can't think of anything better to do. So I geared my entire academic and professional career towards making video games. After graduating high school, I did summer internships at Electronic Arts back in the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis days. So I tested Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis games. I did engineering internships at Electronic Arts on PS1 games. And then full-time after I graduated, I worked on games like, if you remember, American McGee's Alice. I worked on various James Bond games. I worked on Spore for 3 years, where I reported directly to Will Wright, which was a lot of fun. Anyways, I've been at Manticore since we started, obviously, as a co-founder. So that's we started in 2016, so almost 10 years now. It'll be 10 years at the end of this year, I think. And we built, like I said, Core, and I've been, with Out of Time since the very beginnings. Out of Time went through a few iterations before we shipped it. I very specifically remember when we sort of came upon the current gameplay, and we can talk about how that was discovered and stuff like that.
Sure. Before we do, because we do absolutely
Yeah.
want to talk about that, would you give us an idea of what the job of the chief creative officer is?
Sure, absolutely. So, chief creative officer, it's funny because I modeled it after a role that Electronic Arts actually had. Bing Gordon was chief creative officer at Electronic Arts for a long time. It oversees everything creative and gameplay wise at the company. So all the design, all the gameplay. And it interfaces obviously with engineering very closely with art, with our art director very closely. Um, my background is engineering. I don't do it anymore, but I learned in college computer science programming just so I know at least what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
sometimes.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I lead effectively. I lead the overall high level design and direction for our games and core.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so before we get into the roadmap,
Yep.
would you mentioned a second ago a little bit about sort of how some of the other iterations of Out of Time and stuff like that. Are you
Sure.
able to speak to it a little bit? I mean, I know a
Yeah.
little bit because I've been with the company for
Yeah.
maybe 3-4 months now, but you obviously
Yeah.
know quite a bit
Yeah.
more. It's always great to have a little backstory on we went this direction, then we switched gears, went this direction. So if
Yeah.
you can speak to that at all, I think that's always very interesting.
Yeah. It's some of the original iterations of Out of Time was more of a sort of traditional MMO, I would say. Not to say it was tab targeted like WoW or something like that, but the gameplay was more of a traditional MMO. And think of like maybe New World style combat,
Okay.
where you fight one or two mobs at a time, right? And if you pull three, you're dead. Like right, like that's just like, if you played WoW, you sort of want to be fighting one or two. If you're solo, you want to be fighting one or two mobs. If you pull three solo, you're dead. In a group, you want to do like small little groups together. So we were building that, and it was fun, and we were progressing. But part of the power of core is that we can really rapidly iterate and prototype and try out new and fun ideas. And of course, at the same time, this was maybe 18 months ago. We were playing a lot of the sort of horde survival, I want to say bullet haven style games, right? The top down sort of bullet haven style games where lots and lots and lots of enemies on screen. And I was looking, I was like, I think we can do that in core. So I took one of our engineers and I took him aside and said, hey, in secret, let's build a prototype level. Like, let's build a prototype where instead of fighting one or two mobs at a time, we just fight 100 at a time, and they just constantly come, and you upgrade your cards and like the whole thing, like the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah.
We built that in 1 week. Myself and one engineer built it in 1 week. And I very specifically remember I was testing. He gave it. I started that project on a Monday. That Friday, he gave me the level. I was testing it, and I sort of just was playing it for like 2 hours and nonstop, just killing mobs 2 hours nonstop. I got a message internally on our internal communication tool from our head of analytics, and he said, "Hey Jordan, I think there's a bug in the analytics. It said you've killed 2,000 mobs in the past 2 hours. That can't be true, can it?"
Right.
And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, you know what? This is probably the direction we want to go. This is way more fun."
And at that point you say, now it's time
Yeah.
to share a little secret that I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's fun. That's a great story.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm curious. Because we talked a little bit about the core engine, we talked a little bit about previous iterations of Out of Time. I am curious to know what the core engine itself, or maybe the platform, did for you in terms of addressing and overcoming challenges that were coming up in the initial production of Out of Time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. There's a lot of benefits to using core on top of a fantastic engine. Unreal 5, Unreal is a great engine, but using core on top of it gives you a few things that let us rapidly create Out of Time. Like I said, that initial map where I was playing the current sort of gameplay of Out of Time was literally 18 months ago. So we built the entire game from that day to now in 18 months using core. It really allows us to rapidly iterate and try new ideas in a multiplayer context. Core is multiplayer native. Everything you do in core is multiplayer from the get-go, right? So and that's a huge barrier, right? Like if you look at most of the Horde Survival style, Bullet Haven style games on Steam, for instance, a lot of them are single player, and they're great games for sure. We love them. I'm sure you guys have talked about, for instance, Megabonk. We love Megabonk,
Hmm.
but it's single player. And Core, everything you do in Core is natively multiplayer. So that allowed us to really sort of test ideas such as the tether, pushing the tangle back with a group of 4 people, and sharing stats across the tether really, really rapidly and really fast.
Yeah, the ravine between single player only and multiplayer suggested it's a huge chasm,
Yeah.
and it definitely opens up a lot in terms of sort of the social world building of a game like this. So that's very cool that ended up becoming the core platform is partly what helped make that possible. So
Yeah, and I'll just throw out there some of that is client side where we can rapidly iterate by building like all the geometry you see on your screen, for instance, right now, all
yeah,
that world geometry is actually put together in Core very rapidly, and you can and not the models are made in sort of Maya and Max, but then they're all put together in Core, and you can very rapidly iterate, play on it, test in a multiplayer context, and then the whole spinning up of servers, provisioning servers, like matchmaking, like all the social stuff you mentioned, all that comes quote unquote for free with Core.
that's very cool. Yeah, I'm hoping to see more stuff from that sort of thing, just because obviously Out of Time has a very clean, very cool look to it. Sort of,
Yep.
I'm never quite sure what to describe the aesthetic. I always want to call it like, I always try to describe it as like it's not cartoony because
Yep.
it's obviously not a cartoon. It's
Yep.
more detailed and textured than that, but it's always like, I think we described it as like cartoony but never unfriendly or something like that. I forget exactly what poetic
Uh,
prose we used for it, but it's a stylized. Yes, it's a very nice stylized thing. This
yeah,
is so silly.
exactly.
I'm gonna drop a memory bomb on everybody, but do you guys remember back to when I'm sure everybody's familiar with the Age of Empires franchise, right?
Hmm.
So back in like 2010, they released an online only version called Age of Empires Online, which was very different of a game than that really existed at the time, and it ended up not working out. But it had this sort of very fun, like almost Pixar or sort of like Toy Story look to it, and I always liked that aesthetic. And when I saw Out of Time, I went, "Oh, that feels so much like that. It feels sort of like fun and playful, but not unfriendly."
Yeah,
So
it makes sense. We Out of Time. Yeah, so I'll talk about this too. The Out of Time aesthetic, of course, is built on top of the core sort of assets and the core aesthetic and the avatars and stuff. It's interesting when we were first developing the avatar style for core and then thus Out of Time. We had a number of really, really talented. I mean, and one of our very talented character artists is in the chat right now. I won't out them who they are, but they're in the chat right now. And one of our character concept artists was a guy who had done character concept work for the original version of Overwatch when it was Project Titan at Blizzard, right?
okay,
And so and Overwatch obviously has a very stylized look to it as well, right? It's not cartoony, but it's not realistic. It's sort of this stylized thing. Of course, famously, Fortnite has ended up using a similar style. Core came out before Fortnite, so it was very funny for us when Fortnite came out, and we're like, oh, that's similar to how we look too.
yeah, absolutely. So okay, I forgive my impatience because I've been wanting to get to the roadmap for a while now,
Yep.
but I have one more question for you, just to do some general character and world building before we roll out the roadmap. What was the first game that you played yourself on PC? I don't want to include consoles. Sorry, I'm not a PC master
Yep.
race person, but just for the sake of keeping it simple,
Sure.
what's the first PC game you really played? And then if you had to like dredge up one game from the past, one PC game from the
Yeah.
past that's the last game you can play, you can't play anymore, it's the last one
Hmm.
you're going to play forever. What are those two games?
Yeah. Those are very good questions, Bogsy.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna have to think about it. It's a little weird for me because I'm old. I'm not a boomer, but I'm certainly Gen X. And I go back to prior to PC and console, right? Like the first computer. I remember the first computer my dad brought home. was an Atari 800, which
Oh,
was
man.
not the 50 like not the 2600, which was a console, but the Atari 800 had a keyboard and it had basic programming language, right? So it was
Okay.
technically a personal computer, right?
Right.
Um, yeah. Uh, and of course, following that, we had a C64. But for PC, for like IBM PC, and it was
Yep.
before there was even like 286, 386. I played beta versions of Starflight on the PC. Starflight was one of Electronic Arts' very, very, very early games, and I played it before it was out. I played it beta versions on the PC. I would count that as the first PC game that I ever played.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we had an Amiga, we had all, because my dad was making games, so we had to have all the computers at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the first one I think I really remember playing on PC was that Starflight, that beta version of Starflight. My dad was the technical director on Starflight.
Okay.
The PC game that if I could only play one PC game, that's a really tough one.
I know it's tough.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of just from a pure number of hours standpoint. Like, I mean, you can see behind me, you can see some neon on my wall there. You might guess my affiliation in, for instance, World of Warcraft from the neon that's on my wall. You can see up here the Among Us guy there. He's red. He's sus because look, he's near the vent.
Right. That's
Yep.
very clever. It's deep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you. But there's actually, and this is going to be a really strange answer that people probably won't remember. There was a game called Subspace on the PC.
Okay.
And it was a top-down 2D sort of asteroid-style gameplay, but it was one of the very first multiplayer, really one of the sort of very first multiplayer games. Yeah, thanks, Caldwell.
Yeah, he loves it.
It was put out by Virgin Interactive of all companies, but it was so eye-opening of how fun multiplayer could be. I mean, this is sort of before multiplayer Doom or Quake really took off, right? Like, it was 2D, it was top-down, but it really opened up my eyes of like, oh, wow, multiplayer is a whole different beast. That's really where the fun is. So that's the game I would play forever if I could play one PC game for the rest of the time.
All right, fair enough, man. I you know what? I'm not familiar with Subspace, so forgive me, but that's pretty cool. I'm seeing some folks in the chat say Quake. I'm seeing Sims 2, which that's great.
For sure.
I'll throw mine on out there too. The first real PC game, and I'm excluding Number Munchers and Odell Oregon Trail that I played on the computer PCs at school. Computer PCs, wow. The school computers.
Yep.
But the one that I had at home was Red Baron by Dynamics. Do you remember Red Baron?
Yeah.
Yep.
The World War I
airplane. Yeah. That was a great game. My dad had a computer set up at his law office that just had Red Baron, and he's like, "Here, try this." And I just loved it, and that got me so into studying like war history and stuff. So, and if I had to play one game forever, I think it would. I'm honestly not sure whether it would be. I think it might be Heroes of Might and Magic 3, or it would be Total Annihilation. If you are familiar with those.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Total. Yeah, very good RTS series.
Total Annihilation had just incredible music for a game like that. So, all right. Well, yeah. Do you have something else?
No, I was gonna because you mentioned Red Baron. There was one at the same time by a competing company called Knights of the Sky. Red Baron was Dynamics. Knights of the Sky was Microprose, right? But it was World War I. But at the time, you could play it multiplayer on CompuServe. So you had to play on CompuServe, which is crazy, and you had to you paid by the hour, right? And I just remember my dad got a bill
by the hour,
like $1,200 one month, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I was playing a lot of Knights of the Sky."
That's wild.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty good, man. Yeah, there were back in the day. My aunt, she worked for Dynamics, And so I got a whole bunch of Dynamics games for free. And then she moved from, I think Dynamics got bought by Sierra. So then I picked up a bunch of Sierra games for free. So like I had Earth Siege and Earth Siege 2 and some of these other great Sierra titles. They had a bunch of war games as well. So anyway, we're getting off the plot here, but this has been a lot of fun to just sort of just get to know you a little better, because the folks here in chat, they don't get to meet folks behind the curtain very often. So we appreciate your candor in your chat.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, with regards to a roadmap, as the community team, I just want to say to the exec team and to the dev team, thank you. Thank you very, very, very much for actually putting this together. As part of the community team, I hear from folks in the community that they were very excited to know what's coming down the pipeline. And as anyone who's worked in video games can tell you, it's very, very hard to put together a roadmap with a lot of confidence, because oftentimes things change. And, you don't want to put expectations out there and then change your mind about something. So it is a big leap of faith to put together a roadmap, but it means a lot I know it means a lot to the community. So I'll just thank you on behalf of the community. That being said, shall we go ahead and just go right to it?
Yeah, go for it. Let's do it.
Yes, we should. We should absolutely do that. Oops, I deleted my camera. Okay, so here we go, guys. The development roadmap for 2026. This is what you got right here. I'm going to pull up a big version of it so that I can read along with it here. Just 1 second. And, okay. This is my brand new computer, so it's like, do you want to use this program every time for opening this media? Like, Jesus, just open the damn picture. Okay, so first up, we actually have Q1 and Q2 on here, but I think it's important to just say that Q1, Q2, these are sorts of things that we don't want to be completely stuck to, because, as always, it's more important to do something right than to do something fast. So let's just start with the Q1, though. That'll be a great way to sort of just keep things kind of organized and whatnot. So the first thing we have is going to be matchmaking and social as a category. So the first up is going to be Squad Finder, which quickly form squads based on your preferred difficulty. I think that I'm sure people are in the chat right now. I'm going to check, that are very happy about this. Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
Well, there's people in Twitch chat that are happy about that, I'm sure, but there's also people in out of time chat right now who are doing this exact thing, right? Like this is the most obvious thing that we can do, right? And if you look at out of time's global chat, it right now is a proxy squad finder chat is what it is, right? Like that's what it's used mostly for, and we recognize that, and we recognize that that we should have an easier way to do that than trying to ping people in the chat constantly and spam the chat with looking for more. So that's what Squad Finder will do. You will, instead of queuing, so right now when you do quick play or when you queue for a specific zone and difficulty. For Squad Finder, you will just say, hey, this is the difficulty we want. Right, exactly. Chat is the Squad Finder right now.
It's true.
Which is suboptimal, right? Like, so that's why we're adding this feature. So you will queue for you will say what difficulty or difficulties you want to do. If you're willing to do anything, there'll be a, hey, do all that's available. Like, right? Like I could do Shattered 5, but I'm willing to do Shattered 1 or even hard for some newbies or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like you can specify whichever you want. And then it will match you with a squad of like-minded players who are looking for the same thing. And then once you're matched, then you guys will amongst yourselves choose where you want to go and which exact zone you want to do in that difficulty.
That's great. I think that's gonna alleviate a lot of the, the complaints that folks had about how you find. Not everybody's like. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Not everybody who plays video games is super sociable. I know you can tell me in the chat how wrong I am about that, and demonstrate the sociability of it, but it is difficult sometimes to reach out with words and find people to play with. So essentially a squad finder, it's going to be a huge help to help people play in groups, which is, obviously if you've played Out of Time before, which I assume most of you have, it's so much more fun when you're playing with a group. So
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Did you have something else to say about that?
I do, but it's going to be a little bit. It's because not on the roadmap, so it's going to be a little bit of a leak, and I'm not sure we have.
Do you want to do a leak, or should we? We wait until we can do it on Saturday, or next Wednesday? We can always just draw this out.
Look, so yes, I agree with everything that you said. I agree with everything that's typed in the chat. It is more fun to play with more players for sure, right? And the squad finder will be more efficient, even if you don't, even if you were happy to type in chat and look for people. The squad finder should, like, a computer can just do that better, right? The squad finder should just be more efficient. I'll save the leak for later. I want to make sure that we get
the Twitch chat is telling me to shut the hell up.
yeah.
Well,
I want to make sure that we got it locked in before I tell people about it.
Sure, that's fair. That's totally fair. We can always bring you back. We can always bring you back. So, okay. So the second part of matchmaking and social, I know that. Oh my God, I just went from the chat's favorite person in the world to literally.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's my fault. I should make sure that we're gonna actually do it.
Petition to fire Boxy. These are supposed to be my friends, by the way, Jordan. Yeah. These people in chat are supposed to be my friends.
No, okay. It's my fault.
That's okay. So next up is going to be inspect mode, which I think is actually really fun. It's a thing that I think people don't really realize how fun and helpful that will be until it shows up. But inspect mode allow players to view other players' gear and builds. That's great.
Yeah. That should be obviously pretty straightforward, pretty obvious. You can tell right now what weapon somebody has on and what the rarity is because it will glow, but the other pieces you can't tell, right? Necessarily. And unless you know all the different models from by heart, you might not even know what those boots are that person's got on. So you want to inspect them and look for it. And from there, you can go, okay, now I know what boots those are. Now I can know where to farm them and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're a relatively new player. And obviously with the Steam release, we had a whole influx of new players, and they're looking around and they're seeing all these different folks, and they're kind of going like, ooh, that's like some sort of hook chain. Like, what is that? To be able to see that on somebody and then go, oh, okay, it's Alpha Andy's hook chain. Then they can go into the era and the zone selection, and they can find, okay, so it's from the wasteland. I need to farm this map if I want the hook chain. Like, it makes a lot of sense to me. So that's a great update. Moving on, because this is amazing. New run mechanics is the next section. So first up, hot zones. I don't know why, but I feel like hot zones was a bar in Hollywood for some reason. But I used to live in Hollywood, by the way. So limited time modifiers that change how runs play. That's great, because that definitely leans into the roguelite atmosphere and to making each run feel unique. So could you give us, is there anything more you can tell us about hot zones?
Yeah, I can. So and this has a number of goals. They'll show up on the map, and you'll see what hot zone it is. You'll be able to mouse over it, and you'll see what the reward is and what the challenge, what the modifier is. And this will do a few things. It'll break up the meta, right? Like, there won't be there'll be like right now you sort of get a piece of gear leveled up that you like and that you build that you like, and there's no reason to change that ever, right? But what if one of the hot zones was, hey, there's no healing for this run, right? So what you want to do is you want to take off all your healing gear, and you want to stack damage reduction and armor and shields, right?
Wow.
Because you're just never going to get health back. Like, you're never going to recover health. That's one idea. We have lots of other ones, including some really fun hidden ones. If you think of what Diablo does with the Loot Goblin dungeons, right? Like, there could be one where it's like triple resources or something like that, but you only have one hit point. Things like that, right? Lots of really fun, creative things that we have planned for those hot zone mechanics.
Would it be fair to say these sort of would function like challenges?
Yeah, they're like challenges. They're time limited, so they show up on the map. You want to put together a group. You want to figure out what the challenge is and say, okay, how do we accomplish this one? It might be the time limit is only 7 minutes instead of 15 minutes. Like, okay, can we do that? Like, all kinds of different things that really make you want to change up your gear from what you're used to and build up different gear. Yeah.
That's a great. It's funny, when I was a young lad playing in Out of Time, I would sort of find specific gear that I thought was like the most optimal piece of healing gear and the most optimal piece of DPS gear, and then I would level those up kind of concurrently to try and be useful, depending on what my squad needed. But you're right. Like, once you start getting into like level 30 of legendary, it's like, I don't have the resources to level multiple things up. I need to get like 1 to 50. So It's never a bad thing to sort of go, oh, okay, but now I've got one piece to do a challenge if I need to. And you said this will take place on zones. So once you hop into an era, the zone would have some sort of physical or visual indicator that would sort of let you know what's available for it. Is that about right?
That's correct. Yeah, yeah.
That
It'll
sounds
be very
like
obvious.
that sounds like a lot of fun. I like that you made a mention to the Diablo Loot Goblin dungeon. I played a little Diablo 4 before we had our first kid, and I did appreciate those sort of like time challenges.
Yeah.
That's a fun idea. So, well, that's great. Treasure chests is the next one in new run mechanics. Interactive chests hidden across maps for extra rewards and surprises. I'm so happy about this because, and I'll just tell the chat, some of you might remember on December 16th when we released on Steam, I and some other streamers from the community took it upon ourselves to start new accounts and do essentially a 6-hour run to see how far we could get in 6 hours. Like 4 teams of 4 did this, and we all made it to Shattered 1, 2, and 3 in 6 hours, which was super cool. But that was the first time I had done the tutorial again since my very first time. And the first thing I noticed in the tutorial is, oh, that's right, you have to walk up to a treasure chest and open it, and then it gives you an item. And I went, I want to do more of this. Like, I want to open up treasure chests in the runs, and I'm getting my wish. I'm so excited about this.
Yep. So there'll be treasure chests. Like it says, they'll be hidden across the map, so you have to actually go out and look for them, right? So there'll be a little bit of pressure. Like, are we under pressure to complete this quickly, or do we want to go find where that treasure chest is? It might not be there every time,
right?
And then the treasure chest itself will not reveal its sort of rarity or quality until you open it. So you don't know, oh, is this going to be a common? Is this going to be uncommon, an epic, or rare? Right now with the resources, you can see, oh, there's an epic resource over there. There's a legendary resource over there. I want to go grab that right now. The chest, it'll be a risk reward. Like, it'll be like, oh, well, maybe.
Do you want to bother with it, or is that going to slow you down?
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Honestly, this is one of the things that makes me the happiest because all I've really wanted to do for some time now is I just want to interact with more stuff on the map, and this is great. I'm excited. It sounds like the chat's pretty excited about it too. So, third for the new run mechanics is the summoning ring. Summon powerful mini bosses during a run for unique upgrades. Now that also sounds super cool. There's a couple questions here. I realize you may not have all the answers, nor maybe you want to share all the answers, but the first one is summoning ring. Now, does that mean summoning ring kind of like the event where you kill mobs in the multicolored circles? Or does it mean like a piece of jewelry, like a ring, that if you wear it, it allows you to summon a more powerful mini-boss or something like that?
No. Yeah, it's a good question. It means the circle, like the event is. So you'll stand there, you'll kill a bunch of, like, basically it's a choice that the squad needs to make. And the choice that the squad needs to make is, do we want to try to do this mini boss here? If we do, we're going to stand in the circle and kill a bunch of mobs there until it spawns. And then we're going to fight it, and then we'll get rewards. The downside is that if you fail or if it takes too long, now you're behind on your levels, like you're behind on your run.
Or it can kill you.
So or it kills you. So it's a risk reward. Again, it's a risk reward thing but we want to give the choice to the squad of like, hey, do we want to go for this for a chance at some really good upgrades during the run, but if we fail, it's going to put us even further behind. So just more risk reward, more choice for the teams in the runs.
Well, so far, all of these changes for the most part have been interactive, which is really great to hear, because I know that a lot of folks who play out of time have said that more things to make each run feel unique would sort of help with replayability. So these all sound like they are directly addressing that, and I, for one, as a player, am very grateful. I think that sounds like a great time to move on to a new era. Obviously, for those who started with the Epic release back in September, you remembered Medieval, Modern, and Wasteland. And then those of you who came maybe around at Steam time was when we revealed our first new era, which was Solarpunk. Super duper cool aesthetic. And so now the new era after Solarpunk will be cyberspace, which includes new futuristic environment, new enemies and bosses, and new classes to master. Are you able to tell us anything about cyberspace?
Yeah, for sure. Like, so cyberspace will be our new era. It's it'll be a future era, right? Like all the eras in Out of Time are either past, present, or future,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And one of the future eras, it's going to have a very cyberspace, sort of like a '90s cyberspace aesthetic, if you will,
Okay.
like right. So imagine. Movies like the original Tron, well, I guess that was '80s. Imagine Lawnmower Man, sort of like The Matrix, of course, all those things.
Yeah.
That sort of aesthetic. And along with that, there'll be 4 zones. Each one will have a different theme of cyberspace, a different theme of a part of a computer. I think we have the user terminal is the first one. That's where you enter, of course, cyberspace from the user terminal.
Hmm.
Then there's the firewall, so you have to get past the
Oh,
firewall
that's
zone.
fun.
Then we have the database, which zone, and then finally you get to the mainframe, right?
Right.
So, and then there will be two new gear sets to add. What's cool, and somebody did mention, I saw in the chat earlier, someone's like, "Oh, the meta is Frankenstein sets." That is on purpose. And what's really cool about that is that these 2 new sets that we're adding, you can play them, pure. We call them pure sets when you have all the pieces of the sets, but each set will become, the combinatorics. Every time we add even one set, the combinatorics of what is possible sort of skyrocket, right?
Hmm.
Because even just a new helmet or a new weapon, now you can pair that with all the existing gear, and the number of possible build combinations really, really skyrockets.
Yes, indeed. I know for a fact that when Solarpunk was released, especially the Solar Defender gear, those really picked up as great options, and I see a lot of them out there. So very much looking forward to see what comes with cyberspace. With regards to progression and rewards, new achievements and milestones that reward different play styles. That's pretty fun. So, can you, with regards to progression and achievements, are we talking more like Steam achievements, or are we talking more like sort of in client achievements that are like they track your progress, and after you get it done, you get something?
Yeah, it's a great question. They're in client, and they will have progression in client that reward different play styles. So you can imagine, things like total healing done over your lifetime, like right, like, and when you get to 1 million healing done, you unlock something special.
Sure.
Uh, uh, things of that nature, right? And so this will be for players who are like, hey, I really like to tank, or I really like to heal, or I really like to do damage, and you can track your different stats over your lifetime. Right now, you track it per run, and you can see at the end of the run the leaderboard of like who got this. But this will allow you to track it over the lifetime, and it'll be things like 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, things like that.
Right. That's really cool. I'm gonna throw this out into the ether because I know some devs are watching. I was absolutely astounded to find out that in the Shattered 20 run that I watched, we featured it last stream, watching some community members actually play a Shattered 20 run. One of the people in Shattered 20, one of them, the one that did the most damage, did just shy of 10 trillion damage in one match. So, large sums of damage in a single match would never be a bad thing to see. It would be super fun to watch somebody go for, all right, guys, I'm doing all the damage. Everybody let me, they gear up so that one person does all the damage.
Those are some big numbers. I was you mentioned earlier Diablo 4. Obviously, not to get sidetracked, the Paladin class is out in Diablo 4 right now if you buy the next expansion ahead of time. And there's a build called the Oradin, which is all about building. Anyways, I've been doing 56 billion single crits in Diablo 4 with my Oradin. So
that's crazy.
Love big numbers. Yeah, we love the big numbers.
Yeah, I don't think I've played D2 in maybe 2 years. When my wife and I moved into our first house in Austin, Texas, she to celebrate, I bought her a TV, and to say thank you, she bought Diablo 4 for me, and I played Diablo 4. I remember some of the barbarian stuff too, like you could get just insane damage numbers going. So it's always fun watching in Out of Time, watching folks pull up these just like it. Once you reach 1 trillion, it's hard to fathom what it even means.
You got to be careful. The chat's like, be careful. We don't want nerfs. No nerfs.
Yeah.
They're like, and I know. I can talk about that. There are some things. Look, guys,
Uh-oh.
There are some things. There are some things that are not working as intended, and it's sort of quite obvious. Some of them are not. Some of them are a little bit hard to get. You have to get like a specific series of upgrades during the run for it to be as broken as it is.
Right.
And yeah, and if it's not as intended, we will change it, obviously. So whether that's a nerf or a buff, if it's not working as intended, expect it to change.
So here's the
That's all.
thing. I
That's all.
see you guys asking which ones. And I know you want to know because I know you want to plan for it. But the problem is whenever you identify something that's maybe working a little over what's intended, if you start talking specifics about it, you encourage people watching to go and do that thing.
It'll be in the patch notes. It'll be in the patch notes when it comes.
Wood Squirrel says I'm free from caltrop duty. I think we should. I'm going to go into Wood Squirrel's account and I'm going to remove everything except the caltrops gear, just to make sure that you don't lose, what you're good at. Well, that's great to know. I think that challenges, not challenges, sorry, but milestones and achievements and sort of progress tracking. I think that's a lot of what gets people to sort of enjoy, especially the first parts of the game, is you see these little, I should be striving to, figure out how I can do this much or how I can heal this much or what have you. So I think that's great. That's going to be a great addition. Next up is Merchant, a rotating time-limited shop featuring gear purchasable with earned currency. How about that, folks? That's pretty exciting. Now, does this mean that Infinitopia is going to get a new pop-up stand or a pop-up bar or something like that?
There'll be a bar. There'll be a stand. There'll be a what do we call them? A location with a shop with a merchant. The merchant will likely, I think we're planning to use Marco Polo, one of the most famous merchants in history. He'll be there. And it'll be rotating. This is really for those of us, for instance, me, who have bad RNG luck, right? And for instance, my favorite weapon is the Vibe Drone, and I still am using a green Vibe Drone because I have never gotten a higher drop, no matter how many times I run that level, the levels where it drops. So if you were like me, and no matter how many times each run you do, you'll get a little bit of this currency, limited per day. At the end of a week, you can go to this rotating store and see, hey, do you have the Vibe Drone for sale this week? Oh, great, I'm going to buy it. Or I'm going to wait till next, or I'm going to save up my token until next week and get that. So yeah, it's a rotating shop. Again, all earned in game, obviously, but really it's to help smooth out the RNG if you just get very, very, very bad luck for periods of weeks on end.
Fair enough. That's people are saying Marco Polo needs to be in swimming gear. That's
I was thinking of an Easter egg, like if you type Marco in chat, like you would say Polo, but then we would just see that all the time in chat. So maybe
we probably would, yeah. That's exciting. Okay, well, Avengers is fun. I think I always liked that. I'm harking back to Diablo 2 days, where there was I forget where it was, but there was always somewhere. Maybe it was Diablo 2. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game where there's always just a rotating shop that has fun stuff in it. It's the trader, Geed the trader. That's what it was, and he would. He would just always have different things in there, and sometimes it was pretty sweet. So anyway, blah blah blah. I love that idea. I'm glad to hear it, and I'm also excited to know that Infinitopia will get a new resident because it's always fun to have more things to do in Infinitopia since you spend so much time there. Okay, moving on to the last part of Q1, which is going to say platform improvements, Steam Deck support, improved text sizing, and virtual keyboard usability. I do not own a Steam Deck myself, sad for me. But can you give us an idea of sort of what that means for Steam Decks?
Yeah, for sure. So right now we're playable on Steam Deck. Obviously, you can play the game on Steam Deck. It plays well on Steam Deck. But what we really want is to get the verified badge from Valve for the Steam Deck. And to do that, we're going to do some improvements. And mostly those are going to be around improving the text size so it's readable, more readable on the Steam Deck, and also have a virtual keyboards that you can use to type. Those are, I think, the only few things that we're missing that would give us the Steam Deck verified badge. We'll be adding those. So it should just be overall a better experience on the Steam Deck.
Sure, great. I mean, it's always good to make sure that the mediums are running as smoothly as possible. So, even though I don't have a Steam Deck, I will throw it out there to the general population and say like that's good for everybody. So, okay, moving on to Q2, which is planned.
Yep.
But obviously, when things go a little further into the future, please understand that the realities of time may mean that some things get pushed. So while we're wanting to reveal this stuff to you guys to share some of what's coming, please understand that it's not a 100% sure thing that these things all come in Q2. So that's all I ask. In Q2, first, customization, excuse me, and control. Gear loadouts, swap and save builds instantly. That's great. That's a very simple little request, but I'm very, very pleased to hear about this. I sometimes I'll have like, if I'm playing with the top players in the game now, some of whom are in the chat here, I know what I can best contribute, so I'll have mostly my DPS gear. But then when I want to play with folks who are lower level, who I'm trying to help them out, I often will swap and use more supportive gear so that it's I can help keep them alive. So great to see. I'm going to make you answer before this is over. I'm going to make you answer for the scourge on my life that is the bubble chest. Do you know what the bubble chest is, Jordan?
No.
The bubble chest, I'm sorry, you probably haven't heard it referred to as the bubble chest, so I'm just going to... The bubble chest is the pet name in the community for the new solar punk chest that allows you to create a water bubble. And it protects you, but it's also the only piece of gear that I'm aware of that you can use to troll your teammates. So, because when you're in it, you can't really do anything. It protects you, but it also prevents you from attacking. So, my friends on stream love to take the bubble chest just so that they can randomly throw me into a bubble and prevent me from doing anything.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's funny. You can see my Teemo hat back here. I play a lot of League. There's a couple champions in League where you control your team. And Nivea has a wall, and you can.
Is that right?
If you're not a nice player, you can wall your teammates in. And then there's a character named Bard who puts a stasis on everybody, including your own team, so you can prevent your team from like casting their ultimates and stuff like that. If you're a not very nice player.
I never played League, but I played Dota 2. Is that kind of like what the Faceless Void does, where it just basically time freezes a section?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So interesting. I guess I hadn't thought about the Terraria, the aquarium being used in that.
Yeah, the aquarium. Right.
To prevent your. I just liked it because you could swim in it. I think that was super fun.
I know! What a silly, fun little thing. You can literally watch yourself swim upwards in it. But yes, my friends have been using it to troll me on stream by locking me into a bubble repeatedly.
That's very funny. I don't think there's any plans to change that. Sorry.
Damn it. Okay.
Get better friends.
Get better friends. You ready for this? This is how you make lemonade out of lemons. Jordan, there are no better friends than the Out of Time community. Sure. I can't possibly find better friends because these are the best. See that? See that, guys? That's called thinking on your feet. Okay. Squad listings. Find players who match how you want to play. That's pretty exciting. It sounds like it's an additional add-on to matchmaking and social, which is sort of like looking for folks to play with based off of criteria, more criteria. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's right. So the one we're doing in Q1, right, the Squad Finder is sort of the first version where you sort of just say what you want to do and we'll put people together.
Yeah.
This one in Q2 is a little bit more detailed where you can sort of it'll be like a list of squads that you can browse, right? And you can say, hey, this squad is doing specifically, we want to do this zone, and specifically we need a tank or a healer and stuff like that. So again, what is in the chat, but in a browsable format where you can see the squads that are open and you can click when to join or apply to join, and the leader can let you in and stuff like that. The leader can, by that time we'll have inspect mode. So if you're the leader of one of those squads, you can inspect the person who is asking to join and say, well, I'm not going to let you join until you take off that bubble chest. Sure.
Well, God willing, right? So it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like this could be a really fun way a real fun way to say, for example, I'm looking for somebody to just farm gold. Like I'm just gold farming in this run, meaning that would indicate what kind of gear you're wearing. You're wearing, Dragon Helm, you're wearing Andy's mask, you're wearing things that help proc gold, essentially. Or maybe you're looking to farm resources, or you're just trying to speed run the level to get more gear. Is it sort of like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay, great. Well, that's all wonderful. Anything that helps a person have a smoother experience, I think, is always great to have. So, moving on to challenge and competition. First up, leaderboards compete for best times and stats across maps and difficulties. You are speaking to the target audience for this right now because they're all in chat right now.
Yep. Obviously, this is if you think of again Babel 4, right? They've got the pit, and you try to go out through pit, 90, 100, and you try to get the best times.
Yeah. And
then they reset every season. That this is that sort of feature. Someone asked earlier for the global stat tracking. It's not tracking right now, and these times are not tracking right now. So when this feature goes live is when the clock will start, and then they'll be periodically reset too.
Okay, that's great. Hear that, Corvus? You're gonna have to try hard again. Corvus is in chat there and is probably I believe Corvus might be the most prolific player. We did the awards show that Kevin, our other community manager, set up, and we tracked some stats, and Corvus was very visible.
Yes.
So
there's another avid player I know, Rusker Halen. I don't know if you've seen his name around.
Yeah.
He used to work at Manticore a long time ago, and I've worked with him for over 20 years at other companies too. So, good guy.
There was a question from chat from Nakasaya. Nakasaya is one of our moderators in the Discord and super nice guy. Hi, Nakasaya. He's wanting to know if there will be any rewards for the leaderboards, things like titles or stuff like that, or is it just for flexing your name?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know if that's fully planned yet. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see badges that you can put either on your profile pic or frames, or even if you look. Well, you're not on screen. I'm on my screen right now. Right now in town, you have the name and you have the power level of people below it. It'd be cool if you could put a badge.
That would be super cool. Yes, that would be super cool. I'd love to see, this is silly, but I'd love to see one that just says like OG or something, meaning like you bought it on the Epic game release in September of 2025 or something, like first round draft pick or something like that. I don't know, something silly. Anyway, let's see here. Difficulty shrines. Ooh, increased difficulty mid-run for greater rewards. Okay, that's interesting. You know what I like here? The key thing here is the word shrine, and basically something in the run that allows you to change what the run can be. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot and say difficulty sounds great. What other shrines do you have in mind? Do you think that the team is open to the idea of other types of shrines or other types of, hey, here's something that you can choose to activate or not that will fundamentally change the way the run is played? Do you think that's an option?
Yes, everything's an option when we're talking about Q2.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, hear that, guys? Everything is on the option. But the most important thing is you guys in the chat have to let us know in feedback in the Discord. Those of you who are friends with some of the community managers, you're also welcome to just chat with us. We're accessible. We're on Discord. Let us know stuff that you want to come up with. A lot of great ideas have come from the community, and a lot of the changes that are being made, I know are partly because the community has said, hey, these are things that we would like. These are things that would make our experience in the game better. And obviously, as a community team member, we're grateful that the devs have taken a lot of this stuff and have committed to making the changes that you're seeing right now. So, additional... Sorry, go ahead.
In the context of that, so I appreciate that. And I do want to talk about the thing I was going to mention earlier.
Good. Okay.
Because I think it's a request from the community, and I know the pain point that this is. So the pain point right now is when you play solo, by design, you get one loot roll, and when you play with 4 players, you get 4 loot rolls, right? And that is fine, except for when you can't find people to play with.
That's
and
true.
you feel like you're being punished, right? Or if you don't want to play with other people and you still feel like you're being punished. So we have talked about a way where we can make it, and I'm thinking we maybe do this through actually hot zones. So it's not all the time on all maps, but there's a hot zone you could go to where if you're solo, you get 4 rolls at the end, as if you were with a group of 4, right?
Well,
Now, if you
how
just want to
about
run
that,
solo,
chat?
yeah. So I think it actually would be neat if there's one of those hot zones live all the time and it rotates every few hours,
That
right?
would be
So
very cool.
if you're solo, you could always go in and be 4 drops. We have don't care, Corey. We have talked about just making it 4 drops for everybody, and it's an option on the table. There's issues with it though, which is that it highly encourages you to just play solo, which I don't love. Right? I don't want to punish you for playing solo, but I don't want to highly incentivize everyone to play solo
Sure.
all the time.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's fair to say that the game is at its peak amount of fun when you're in a squad, when you're with
yeah.
people, and you're playing with friends, for sure.
Yeah, and the chat is right. That like obviously we read the Steam reviews, right? Like we definitely know that this is a pain point. So that's why we're discussing it. If we do it the way I'm saying, where it's on the as a hot zone, but that there's always one of those hot zones on the map at all times. You always, as a solo player, will be able to go and get 4 rolls, but you have to go to a specific hot zone to do it, and that hot zone will change over time. You can't just do it on any zone at any time.
Sure.
Right? So we may do it. We may end up, if that's not good enough, if that still is like, hey, this feels really punitive when I want to do some other zone and I only get the one, we'll talk about it. But that's what we're definitely reading that feedback. We're definitely hearing that feedback. It's not the feeling that we wanted from that feature. We wanted you to feel like you were getting a bonus when you were playing with 4 players.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's not giving you more gear. It's just giving you more chances at better gear. So
that is correct.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's actually okay.
Well, so that's either way. That's great news because regardless of which option happens, it's a step in the right direction, and it's a step to directly addressing and correcting. Yeah, a major pain point that folks have brought up is that even though the game is more fun as in a group, it does feel bad. It does feel bad to be getting one loot roll by yourself if you're playing solo. The good news is that several of the things that made it difficult to find people to play with are also being addressed. I just don't want to lose sight on the reality that there are 2 parts to that. One is it feels difficult to find people to play with currently. The second is that it feels punishing to only get 1 loot roll at the end. So we're coming at it sounds like we're coming at it from 2 separate directions at the same time to get to a point where it feels a little bit better. And I think that's a great way to go. So thank you for dropping that in. That's going to be a big part of what people take away, I think, is the notion of, hey, we really want people to play in groups, but we also don't want people to feel bad playing by themselves. So,
Yep, exactly.
Great. Well, that's awesome. There's another part called additional hot zone modifiers, even more variety from runs to run. That's great to hear too. Is there any sort of hint or any info at all you can give us about what that might look like?
Not necessarily, because what we're going to do is we're going to implement the hot zone system, and we're going to ship the hot zone system with a number of the ones that we have planned, but we don't know which ones are going to go in which quarter yet. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
So, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that's great. Hot zone sounds like it's going to be not only a fun thing to sort of encourage one era or another, 1 or 2 zones or what have you, but it sounds like there's a lot of utility in addressing certain problems using the hot zone modifier. So that's all fantastic to hear. And then last but certainly not least, we get a sneak preview at yet another new era, which is going to be prehistoric, which I'm excited. Dinos with machine guns. Yeah, I know. Somebody, Perra himself said it, but I was thinking it.
Dinos with machine guns and or lasers, right? Like that's always fun.
Lasers.
It's one of the most unique things I think we have about our setting in Out of Time.
Yeah,
is that we can mix and match those different eras and have that really fun anachronistic gameplay. I want to introduce I want to have Charles Darwin sort of as part of the prehistoric
Oh, that's fun.
era. So he'll be there looking at some of the fossils, going, "I was right. Like I was right the whole time." Like,
Yeah,
right?
no
Like,
kidding.
uh,
That's great. And of
yeah.
course, new enemies and bosses and new classes to experiment with. Yes, I'm looking
Yes.
forward to some fun with that one. Well, Jordan, that's it for our roadmap for now. Obviously, folks, we're going to make this roadmap we're going to make this roadmap visible, and we're going to share it. We'll share it in the Discord. We'll make sure that folks
Yep.
can access it whenever they want. Please, I will make the final disclaimer. Please remember that this is our goal. We cannot promise everything, so please just remember that it is subject to change. Excuse me, but this will give you an idea of what our intentions are moving forward. Um, I just have to say thank you, Jordan, for one, taking the time to actually come and chat directly with the community here on stream, but also to share this. This is something that they really wanted. This is something the community has said repeatedly that they wanted. They wanted to know what direction we were moving in. It's very exciting, and on behalf of the community, I will just say thank you.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for playing. We're really happy to have so many dedicated players. A very friendly community, it seems like to me.
Yeah, right.
When they're not trapping you inside the aquarium. Um,
When they're
but
not bubble netting you, yeah.
yes, so thank you everybody. Keep playing. We're gonna keep improving the game in lots of ways, as you can see on the roadmap. Not just new content, not just new content, but not just new content, new features to
Yeah.
make to ease some of these pain points that we recognize. We play the game too, so we see them too, and we're working on them.
That's right. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and just say that we should call the stream right there because that was a lot and that was great fun. And I don't want to drop off a high like that. So what we're going to do is say thank you to everybody. We're going to say thank you to Jordan. Thank you to everyone who joined in the stream. And if you guys enjoy having us bring on folks from behind the scenes to chat, we can absolutely do more of that. Let me know personally. You can tell me in Discord. You can tell me in chat what kind of stuff you want to hear about. Obviously, map or like roadmap updates and that sort of thing. That we can't do that every day because the information is not going to change. But we had Sasha and Evan on earlier to talk about design, talk about sort of lore and world building and stuff. That was super fun. So we'll see if we can maybe get them to come back and do a little bit more of that. But
Yep.
Jordan, it's been a pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you for your time, and we will talk to you later.
Awesome. Thank you everyone.
All righty.
Thanks, Bugsy.
Bye, everybody.